Morning. I thought, as usually, you can see all my kit in the background. It's quite an, well, today I thought getting into the sleeping department. Yeah, I mean there are several different options how you can achieve that. And either the hammock, talking about the hammock today, tent, all here this is tent, woolly and more stationary camp side stuff, yeah, and my smaller option also. As you can see, if you got too much kit, it's just knocking about. Anyway, got my trusty old tarp and flash pallet and stuff here, and I'm gonna compare that a bit, yeah? What makes sense and what makes not sense. And especially with my kit, I got a tuning idea, doing let's say a Woolly-Mammoth hammock. Yes, the Woolly hammock is something I had on mind for quite a while, and how to do that. And from my experience with my last trip, I came that actually got more compact now, and to reduce items on one side and make it more usable for multiple options. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to talk today about. Yeah, as you can see, over the years there's lots and lots of gear piling up, yeah? Where to start? I mean, in reality I can't carry all of it for all the different options for overnight, yeah? And actually you got the summer, spring, autumn, winter, yeah? And yeah, you can be very specific or set up, yeah, like for winter, which is coming soon. Well, we have got autumn, yeah. So it's in my opinion the more easiest option or time of the year. Summer may be preferable to some of you, but I'm just getting overheated and I'm not bothered to do anything at all apart of drinking. So where to start? Yeah, I was using hammocks for a long time. Yeah, and I even used the hammock, especially this one here. No, that's a different one. It's the later one. This one, it's the Hennessy Hammock Deluxe. Yeah, I use that even indoors. When I moved from the UK back to Berlin, yeah, I had a little flat and I didn't bother getting any furniture at all. Yeah, I had my motorcycle and a few bits and bobs, and just put some bloody remote control. Packed up again, actually it fall down, and lots of stuff I'm actually recording, so I'll put that on the side, about the next step. Yeah, we actually cut off, so I have to redo that in a bit quick manner. I just discovered that when I was starting editing, so I'll just give you top of my head, just cut it short. I stopped actually, we were talking about the Hennessy Hammock, when I put them up in a flat, put some hooks in the wall, yeah, and actually lived and slept for 3.5 years just in the hammock, in the Hennessy Hammock, yeah, so indoors, yeah, and at some stages just took it off the hook and put it on the bike and went on a trip again to Scandinavia, so mate Andy, and so that comes in very handy. And I have plenty of experience in how to put it up, sleeping in it, and it's very comfy. And yeah, I didn't have any furniture. I could just pack my bags, put them on a motorcycle, and sort of. Anyway, to put it short, and I'm very convinced about the Hennessy Hammock. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I bought the lighter version, which are smaller as well, packing size wise, and even bought the winter kit. Yeah, that's the overcover, the undercover, the sleep pack, you know, for the temperature. It's shaped to match the hammock. Yeah, and I'll put that aside. And so I had plenty different kits. I put the links down there from the Hennessy Hammock. They're easy to set up without much knowledge of putting the everything up. And with a built-in mozzie net in the whole lot. Yeah, so that's what I'm coming from when I moved on to the other hammock solutions. The latest one obviously was the DD-Hammock, which I explain shortly after I do this redo. Yeah, so put this aside. What you actually missed out, and missed out to recording that, is about tent, BV bag. Yeah, this is a big lot, a huge pile, as you can see, and heavy as hell. So yeah, wool, canvas. Yeah, I'm not undoing the BV bag. It was something I thought it's a good idea, and it actually is a good idea. I used the Miltech Swiss knockoff blankets. They're made by Miltech. They're supposed to be 100% wool, and got a bit like, you know, but I think they're made in Pakistan or somewhere. And the wool quality, or the quality of these blankets, they're not, well, it does the job, but it's not high quality. Yeah, it's actually flops a lot in the beginning. I start putting this in the washing machine on hot, yeah, to get it more felted up, and it worked to a certain extent, so that's what I used as a material to make my BV bag. Yeah, it's mummy shaped, and instead of having zips, it got bobbed bottoms and a wide overlap. Yeah, so there's not much draft, and I use this combination. This the Tschum SOSWA. I put a link down there. Put it down already somewhere, and it's a two-man tent. You can put it in half. Yeah, with the zips, there are two zips. You can actually split that in half. And if you're with, it's space enough for two people. So if you're a couple and like to get a bit close, this would be a good option. Yeah, it's a good weather protection, easy to set up. With a single pole, you can hang it up on a branch somewhere, and on an A-shape pole on the outside. So you got all the room inside as well. And this is a heavy-duty canvas. That would make a good winter solution, especially when you're using it. And I got the tent stove for it as well. Yeah, so it can go really into freezing camping. And yeah, blankets. When you do ground camping, yeah, not in a hammock where you actually hang in the air, yeah. It's a different setup, and you need different equipment. Blankets are always a good option, and keeps you warm. The trouble is, well, have I went into the? I don't know. Well, the blankets, they're a good option for as an additional insulation. Just wrap it around in camp or whatever and fold it up and having a sleeping pad sort of, yeah. You get the more expensive woolly blankets. You can already see it's more volume in it and it's tighter and more wool. The blankets are heavy, yeah, and they do a good job in cabins or at home and base camp, yeah, but you don't want to carry a huge pile of heavy wool plus your tent plus your plus your BB bag and stuff. It's just getting too much stuff, yeah. So well, that's where I'm coming from, yeah. All this stuff is for a certain purpose, can be used sort of multi-purpose, but still it's one purpose. And yeah, about the blankets, to make them useful as a blanket hammock, yeah. You find a few videos on the internet about blanket hammocks, especially for winter and cold weather situation, and how to set them up. It's difficult to find oversized blanket like XXL blankets, yeah, and they're expensive and they're still bulky, and they will do nicely, but they're expensive, they're hard to get, well, at least good quality, and they're oversized anyway. The usual standard blanket is 2 meter, 2 meter 20, yeah, and one made 20, 140. If you're lucky, you get one with 2 meter by 150, for instance, yeah. But they're still too short to put them up as a comfortable hammock, because you need at least a length of 3 meter, yeah. And that actually brings me to the Scandinavian, no, not the Scandinavian, the Scottish with a great kilt, yeah. The kilt is not just a skirt, it's not a skirt at all, not at all. It's a large piece of woolly cloth, tight woven, and usually the great kilt is 5 meter in length, yeah, fold it up like, yeah, and then throw over your shoulder, and you can use it as a coat, overcoat, or wrapped up blanket, and all sorts. And obviously as a sort of shelter as well. Hang it up in on a branch and have a little bit, use it as a tent. That's what the people had. They didn't have a lot. They had maybe, and that was already luxury if they had a great kilt, and it was traditional made wool, obviously, yeah, and that's what all they had in that time. And so I thought it's a good idea using that, because it's sort of the same material like the Bavarian use, yeah. It's a wool Loden material. It's woven the same way than the kilt material, yeah, but treated afterwards, like cooked and rubbed, like felted up, yeah. So it's even tighter and wear resistant, and actually even if you cut that, it doesn't fray out. Yeah, that's maybe one of the main difference between the classic kilt cloth and the Alpine Bavarian, let's say, not only well, the Austrian, the Bavarian and the Swiss. Let's settle down for the Alpine Loden, yeah. the Alpine Mountain Loden. It's very similar harsh weather conditions than you get in the highlands, so it makes a good comparison. And yeah, it's made at the time by the poor land people, you know, farmers in the mountains. They had a little plot, some sheeps, and the aristocrats, they squeezed the money out of them, as usually, as they did in Scotland, you know, or on the island. And yeah, so I had an unboxing video where I show this material. It's a 3-meter piece, yeah, and 150, yeah, I believe it's 150 in width, yeah, 140 or 150, but that's the average size of the hammock, yeah. If you put a hammock flat on the ground, it's basically a 3 meter by 1 meter 40 sheet, nylon sheet, yeah. And so I thought, give it a go, and it's a project I had on mind for quite a while, and to make a woolly hammock, so there's more insulation to it from the underneath, and the wind chill is taken out, yeah. While the nylon, when you sweat and you get cold, the nylon doesn't give you any insulation, and with the vaporizing of the sweat you chill out even further, yeah. While the wool actually takes the moisture up to 35% and still remains warm, yeah, by the touch, and so it wouldn't chill out as easy than you would with the nylon. That's one reason why I thought it's a good idea to swap from the hyper ultralight nylon tarps, hammocks, tarps. They are already replaced by the cotton, yeah. Talking about the hammock, and yeah, I have to see what I got recorded. Getting a bit technical today. Again, preparation is all, yeah, and this is basically scaled down size of the material I got here, yeah, the woolly Loden, yeah, which I bought off the roll from Hubertus Loden, yeah, the Bavarian company. So anyway, this pattern simplifies the material I got here. It's 1 meter 40 and 3 meter in length, and the plan is to have that like set up in diagonal as a hammock, yeah. So it actually then folds over. So I got a bit of over blanket, over blanket, or can use the ends to cover on top, yeah, plus the wetter flag, and because it's wool, that actually get me a little bit more insulation from underneath compared to the nylon tarp. Plus the felt as a cold weather protection if needed, yeah. But in generally, for normal temperature, the wool would be a better choice than the nylon, yeah. So to address the stability and the wear, the tear on it, yeah, the plan is to use some of the Dynamere thread I got. That's the material I'm using for the bowstring. Very tough material. It doesn't take up moisture, Yeah, like nylon. Nylon takes up moisture and gets stretch. Like, yeah, that's why you get this sagging in the nylon tarps and tents. Yeah, in the morning when they get wet, because they draw moisture, which the Dynamere doesn't do. It actually, it's sort of, I think they must have pre-stretched that a bit, but in generally it's very, it doesn't stretch. Yeah, it stays very solid. So, and because the bowstring material is made from the same material as well as the fishing lines. Mind you, the fishing lines, it's even thinner thread basically, yeah. And so I'm using the bowstring. It's very thin, and I'm using it for putting on buttons and for sewing already, yeah, for hand stitching. So what I do, because I going diagonal with my hammock, yeah, and in some cases depends on how I get it out of the pack. Probably cross it that way, yeah. So this is the idea, having some Dynamere thread stitched, just stitch through in length, yeah, across for start, but then doing a bit like off center, always from the tip, yeah, a bit off center to the next bit in the middle, a bit more like that and like that, and then this way like that, like that, like that. So basically producing, and we're going to do the same on the other side, basically creating a mesh, yeah, a sewn in mesh, and producing a diagonal mesh, as you can see. And if I do that both sides all along, I get basically like a mesh sewn into the material, yeah. And because it's very flat, it's basically woven into the material, and creates basically an internal mesh which doesn't stretch. That will hopefully, and that's my project, will prevent the wool from getting overstretched and get worn out by ripping off, yeah. And that's my stitching project. Yeah. I'll show you a little bit more why or how to fold the diagonal of the, okay, so this is the dead square, yeah, and what I'm gonna do, I fold to make the fold for the ends, yeah, where the tension is coming up to, actually folding it up like in a dart over the length. I put that into more detail in a more specific way once I got that done, yeah, and that's exactly the way how you fold the ends on the blanket hammock as well, yeah. So you get yourself a narrow dart, and then you can actually turn that around, and you get a loop here, yeah, and actually the tip is then wrapped around with a cord, and you got sort of a ring on the end, yeah, where you can actually carry on with a whoopee sling or any rope to tie that up to a tree or pole or whatever you want. So that creates in total diagonal shape of any square bit of material you got. So yeah, I may stop here. Let's put it as the first part of a series how I convert a plain piece of woolly Loden material into a hammock, which still can be used as a blanket. Yeah. Additionally to the wetter flag, which is exactly the same material, it's just a different color. And so I can actually combine both. Got the overcoat with the first layer blanket, got the piece of material. Think about it like I got a large tarp and a small tarp, yeah, from canvas. I'm gonna copy the same sort of from the wool, yeah. I got a small wetter flag as an overcoat blanket, small blanket basically, yeah, we can wrap myself up in, and a large piece of blanket, piece of material which can be used as hammock, a large piece of material to wrap around as a second layer, and you wonder about the sleeping pad. Yeah, when I'm on the ground, because it's a large piece of material, I can fold that up. Yeah, so instead of having a felt, because when this is folded up in multiple layers, yeah, you get a thick layer which is soft, warm, and does insulation and padding at the same time. So I don't have to carry a sleeping pad, but got two options, the hammock options and the surface sleeping option. Yeah. So I got two very different setups in a very compact 4 pieces of equipment. 5, yeah, 4, without any different more, don't need any more bulk. Yeah. So that's something, the DIY project, and I put most of the links down there in the description. And yeah, keep tuned. This is only the introduction on my next DIY project, which is the Woolly-Mammoth Hammock blanket. Yeah, with some modern day alterations to it. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Bye bye. I've got a bit of music in the background because I like it a bit. Needs to be hard rock. Yeah. Rory Gallagher. It's the right stuff. Yeah, I'm a bit one of the old. It needs to be cracking. Yeah. You see. Well, I've seen this guy live. Yeah. It was, let's say, Rockpalast in 1977, and I've been there live in that concert, and it was the first time I've seen him. It's just an amazing guy. So I'm a big fan of Rory Gallagher, and it's just an amazing guy. I mean, this is a YouTube video. Yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to put some music on it, but it's a shortcut. It's just a guy that's rock and roll pure. Nothing else than raw rock. Rory Gallagher.